Well, one of the things they told me was that he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, "Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?" And I said, I had pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, "You're an idiot." And I said, "Why am I an idiot?" He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for women's lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble venture.
Present-day Planned Parenthood, we should understand Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood's founder and hero.
Margaret Sanger was a big proponent of negative eugenics, which was the viewpoint that you should weed out unfit people from the bloodline. So that would be encouraging people not to procreate if they were unfit, feeble-minded, had any kind of mental illness, and that also included forced sterilization.
Words like unfit and feeble-minded were used to describe not only the poor and mentally ill, but also to describe African Americans.
Margaret Sanger stated that birth control is nothing more or less than the facilitation of the process of weeding out the unfit, of preventing the birth of defectives or of those who will become defectives.
In 1921, Margaret Sanger founded the American Birth Control League. Its primary mission was to prevent uncontrolled procreation and establish a world program of birth control.
She states, knowledge of birth control is essentially moral. Its general, though prudent practice must lead to a higher individuality and ultimately to a cleaner race. Margaret Sanger stated that the most merciful thing that the large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it.
In 1939, Sanger wrote a letter to her eugenics colleague, Dr. Clarence Gamble, a member of the Birth Control Federation of America, in regards to setting up the Negro Project, a birth control clinic for African Americans.
She was speaking about serving what she called the Negro population, and in concluding this portion of the letter, she stated that we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Sanger believed that having an African-American minister on staff would ease the suspicion.
African-American populations were considered some of these unfit members that should be weeded out. So in this letter, she discusses having African-Americans serve other African-Americans so they wouldn't be aware that they were seeking to terminate them, to exterminate them by the use of birth control and negative eugenics.
Sanger was quite fond of Dr. Ernst Root.
Shalom, calling him La Yahweh Shem Yal Shai. So whether by honest GMS and honesty you Akia, man, and peace and blessings to you brothers and sisters that listen. The hopeful elect, man, the church of Yahweh Shai, man. Calling him La Yahweh Shem Yal Shai. And I just did a video on the distractions. And one of the distractions that was highlighted in that video is this whole abortion thing that they're going to make a final decision on in the summertime. Right, which the rumor is they may reverse Roe v. Wade, which we all know this is all systematically done to bring forth more chaos. But going into the backstory of the whole feminist and the whole abortion, as Aaron Russo beautifully broke down, the whole reason it was the Rockefellers that funded the feminist agenda, and it was to tax the American population by having both parties work, the man and the woman. And also since both parties are working, the state is now the head, all right, or the state is now teaching your children, man, indoctrinating your children, man. That was their goal from the beginning. And you had the head feminist of that time, or the main political activist for feminism at that time, was a Gloria Steinem. You see, and there's an interesting article on it, man. See, Aisha, after they infiltrated the whole Black Power movement at that time, then they started that feminist agenda. You see, and when you go into a backstory, it says what? It says the true story of Gloria Steinem, from the CIA to the world's most famous feminist. So she was a CIA agent. She was working for the intelligence agencies. All right. It says, let me read a little bit. Before Gloria Steinem was face of the second wave feminism, she was an anti-communist operative for the CIA and went undercover with Playboy to expose their misogynistic practices. So the bitch was what? An agent, man. And that's a well-documented fact, man. Right? And that was Aisha's plan, was to cause nothing but division. He did it. He divided and separated the households. And you look what happened today. Look at the results. Hell, there's even a gender war between men and women right now. They're both complaining about each other online because that was his intent, man. Right? And you see it right now. Gloria Steinem was telling you Eves to rebel against your husband and to rebel against the patriarchy was an agent, right? And they were funded by the Rockefellers. And you can see her throwing up her signs, her allegiance. All right. So, I mean, and of course, going to Margaret Sanger, who was the founder of the Planned Parenthood, which was set up also by the Rockefellers. All right. She was a eugenicist. She had a perfect hatred for Jake. Perfect hatred. Right. And she didn't want to see us multiply, man. That's what she's teaching, all that contraceptive, right, to prevent us because we outdo them. Right. Our people have that natural fertility. Them, it's hard for them to multiply, man. Because they feared us, man, and rightfully so, because that goes back to the enmity in the womb. But that's what the scripture says, and she had her Negro project. You see, to exterminate Jake, man, because that is the number one killer of quote unquote black people in this country. It's not drugs or murder or gangbanging. It's what? It's abortion, man. Abortion, man. Deliberately terminating your children. And you know, this practice is nothing new because, well, they were doing it in times past, man. During the time of Moses and Yahweh Shai, man. Trying to cut off that line, man. Matter of fact, let me get that let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. Let me get into the scriptures, man. See, Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there any new thing? Wherefore it may be said, see, this is new, which this also proves reincarnation as well. Right? That's also a mystery to a lot of people. All spirits are reincarnated, man. Right? Everybody comes back on the planet Earth and plays their part, right, within your bloodline, man. Right? You don't come back as a cat or a dog or anything like that. But it says it had been already of old time, which was before us. So, like in this lesson, what Aisha is doing today, and the perfect hatred that he has with the Margaret Sanger and the Rockefellers, the wicked elite, the rich man setting up these things to exterminate us. Well, it's no different than what the ancient Pharaoh tried to do, man. And I'm going to get that precept now. Let's get to Exodus chapter 1, verse 12. So this proves that this is Egypt all over again, man. Proves beyond a shadow of doubt. Egypt means what? Bondage. Anyway, let's read Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. Now they rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more mighty than we are. Well, scripture tells you Israel has ascended the sea, and we're also the salt of the earth. You just look at the influence that we had on American culture. The reason why America is so influential around the world today is because of the Israelites, man. Music, art, okay, and of course even their inventions, man, is because of Jake, man. And let's read on. It says, "Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they will multiply, and come to pass that when they fall without any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, so get them up out of the land." And the same thing with Margaret Sanger. They tried to present this whole Planned Parenthood for, in case you can't be able to pretty much afford a child or give it a decent lifestyle. That was pretty much a good cop-out. Nah, man. Like she had in that Negro project, she said, listen, make the minister a Negro. All right? So people won't have any suspicion, man. See? That's them dealing wisely. And like we said today, it worked, but it didn't completely work because the Most High always had an elect. And let's read on. It says, "Come, let us do wisely with them, lest they multiply and come to..." Oh, yeah, I read that. Verse 11. "Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them, and with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pittim and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel." Just like now. And Mosiah, he accused the heathen. He said, you furthered the affliction, man. See? And the Egyptians were made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and in brick and all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when he do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, see them upon the stools. If it be a son, then he shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Right. Because they understand that if you cut off the sons of hell, you cut off the line, man. Right? Because the man carries the seed. For you Israelites who still can't understand that, man. The nations, they understood that. Right? Anyway, it says, let's see, let me jump on down. Let's go to verse 22. Jump on down. "And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born he shall cast into the river, and every daughter he shall save alive," man. Okay? Because the man carries the seed, man. Right? And they also feared, like you read in verse 12, they feared that we would multiply and we will overthrow them. Right? And that was also the time of our salvation, because the Most High raised up Moses, man. See? And that was the end, man. So these nations, they know. Just like when you read during the time of Yahweh Shai, you get that Matthew, the 2nd chapter, which proves Herod was an Edomite. Okay? You have one body teaching Herod was an Israelite. All right. Let's read Matthew chapter 2. We know about the wise men that gave Yahweh Shai gifts. All right. And the angel of the Lord warned them not to go back to Herod, to go back into their own country. Right. Now let me read verse 13. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It says, "And when they departed, who the wise men? Behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother," who Yahweh Shai, man. See, and if they had cut off the Messiah, then we wouldn't have any hope, because he knew the prophecy, Herod. Hold on. When you read verse 4, let me read that, verse 3. "When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled." Oh, no, let's read verse 1. "Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born the King of the Jews? For we have seen his star, which is the chariot, in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him," man. They knew the prophecy, man. Salvation was coming to our people, man. And what's that salvation? Dominion, all right? Power and rulership. What our forefather Isaac bestowed upon Jacob in Genesis the 27th chapter, man. But I had to start with who? Yahweh Shai, man. The star that's going to come out of Jacob. All right? So now let's jump on down where I was before. So he knew the prophecy and he greatly feared. Right? Now let's read on now. It says, okay, verse 13. The angel appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee a word. Right? Because there were Jews down in Egypt as well. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and they departed into Egypt. And it was unto the death of Herod that it might be fulfilled, spoken of the Lord, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth, and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So there's nothing new under the sun. The ancient Egyptians did it, and Herod an Edomite did it, man. Okay? And he's a modern day Pharaoh today. See, but he's more slick. He's more cunning. You said a Planned Parenthood acting like he's coming for your benefit, man. But like we read in her writings, Margaret Sanger, who was funded by the Rockefellers, it had a perfect hatred for Jake, man. Perfect hatred, man. You see? And they coaxed these women into following along with that, man. Now you got Eve out there in the front line trying to fight to further exterminate her nation, man. See, back to the garden again. That's why you read Job 39:16. Well, I had seen an article today as well. Bring that out to the spirit, man. Job 39:16. The cunning devices of the wicked. But like the scripture said, there's nothing new under the sun. It says Job 39 verse let's start from 13. Job 39:13. Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warmeth them in dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beasts may break them. That's who the Most High is comparing our people to, man. You easily compare you to the ostrich who steps on her own young. See? That's why he said, she hardened against her young ones as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because the Most High have deprived her of wisdom. He didn't give y'all wisdom. He didn't give y'all good moral judgment. That's why y'all shouldn't be in any leadership position at all. Okay? Because y'all go based off what? Emotion, man. You see, you shouldn't be, a woman shouldn't be what? Left to herself. She's supposed to be underneath a man's guidance. It says, neither have he imparted to her understanding, which are the two main principal things. Okay? Did not the scripture say, Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7? Let's get that real quick. And I'm going to jump to an example today I just saw, man. Proverbs 4:7, it says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So you're supposed to have, wisdom is the principal thing, the chiefest thing. And you're supposed to have what? Understanding, which the woman doesn't have, man. Right? And the proof of that is this article right here. Let's see. It says, we get it. This bugged out woman, man. Woman bugged out, boy. Which is Gold Limitation 4 and 3, which I'm going to read in a minute. But it says, voodoo spell blamed in mom's shock confession after kid 3 dies and sibling hurt when she forces them to drink bleach. Oh my gosh, man. See, it's a scripture right here, man. This happened yesterday, man. A mother accused of forcing her daughters 3 and 8 to drink bleach before the youngest died has blamed a voodoo curse for her actions, police say. Yeah, well, you know, it's the biblical curse, man. So you Jakes, you like to give Satan a little bit too much credit, man. Right, goes back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, man. See, that's a curse, man. We just read it in Job, the 39th chapter. Okay? Good and evil comes from the Lord, man. It's the Most High who put that curses on our people, man. See, now, let me get the scripture. Let's get the scripture, man. So she gave her kids bleach. You know, one of them died, and The others were injured, man, which is no shocking because you exterminate your seed. Well, not your seed, your man's seed in your womb, man. Talking about your body, your choice, man. The Lord gave you that baby, man. That's a living thing that's inside of you, man. But let me read this. Lamentation chapter 4, verse 3. It says, even the sea monsters draw out their breasts. They give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel, man. Like the ostriches in the wilderness. So we read Job 39th chapter. He's talking about what? The daughters of Zion, man. And the Most High said, y'all become cruel. Y'all what? Y'all heartless. Y'all supposed to be tender-hearted. But to your own children, they're what? They vicious, man. Right? Just discard them like they're nothing. And just continue being a harlot and a whore. That's what the vast majority of you are going to be put to death in America, man. And like we said, this whole abortion thing is all distractions to keep your mind off the coming food shortages. But we're going to speak on it as well because it all ties in with prophecy, man. All right. We read verse 10. It says, the hands of the pitiful woman have sought in their own children. They were meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So when the famine came, when the Babylonians hit, you had Eve eating their own children, man. And that's going to happen again today when these food shortages start hitting. Oh, matter of fact, you had a wicked queen in Israel who tried to do the same thing. Try to cut us off, man. That righteous line off of the kings. I think in the Athaliah, let me get that. I think it's 2 Chronicles 22. We see 2 Chronicles 22. There we go. 2 Chronicles 22 and 10, real quick. But when Athaliah, the mother of Uzziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal of the house of Judah. You see? Try to cut off that line. But Jehoshaphat, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Uzziah, and stole him from the king's sons that were slain, and put him and his nurse into a bedchamber to preserve that line, man. Okay, because she was a queen in Israel until the Levites brought her ass out and put her ass to death, man. It tells you verse 12, and with this hid in the house of the Most High 6 years, and Athaliah reigned over the land. Yeah, until the Levites put her to death in the 23rd chapter, man. Okay, because there ain't no such thing as no queen. There's only kings, man. See, but she had tried to cut off that line. You see? And the same thing Eve is doing today, man. It's nothing new. Right? But it all goes back to Aisha, man. Right? And that's why I'm going to read this last precept in Psalms the 40th chapter. Let's get it. Psalms 140. It says, deliver me, O Yahweh Shem Shah, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, and continually they are gathered together for war, man. Our people don't understand the depths of Satan, man. They keep saying because he got a suit and a tie on, he's smiling, he give you job and opportunity, that his people like you, man. You don't know the depths of Satan, man. Okay? They came up with this whole Vanessa thing, and well, they afflicting their own people now. All right? It proves there's a house divided against itself. See? It says they have sharpened their tongue like a serpent, adders poison under their lips, like this whole Planned Parenthood. You know, she tried to make it seem like it was a good thing to women have power over their body. And if they can't afford to have a child, they could just, exterminate it. And they came up with the whole birth control thing. But under the guise of that, the real motive behind that was to come at who? Israel, man. All right. That's what King David said. Keep me, O Yahweh Shem Shah, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purposed to overthrow my goings. You see? Let me jump on down. Verse 8. Grant not, O Yahweh Shem Shah, the devices of the wicked. Further not his wicked devices, lest they exalt themselves, man. Right? And his wicked device was what? Just like Herod tried to do. Just like Pharaoh tried to do. Tried to cut off that line, man. All right? Verse 10, it says, let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into the deep pits, that they rise not up again. And that's going to happen to you in the second death, man. The thermonuclear destruction, man. That's how America Babylon going to go out, man. This place has just been a huge graveyard for you Israelites, man. But of course, you're caught up in distractions, man. So you think you're free when you're not, man. All right? So with that, I'm going to say, Call Loyam La Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. That I'm going to say, Shalom.